Can I ask any question on the air right
absolutely.
now? One of the questions that I have is, and I don't know the answer to it, is what if we have grown Asian men in their 20s and 30s that are healthy and built? Someone like you, someone like me, someone like... What if we had grown Asian young men attacking 84-year-old black women? What do you think would happen then?
Lucky Boys Podcast.
All these demonstrations happening in these metropolitan areas, how was it in San Francisco?
I think that there's always been the right people in the Bay Area that wanted to do it, but they didn't have the support yet. And I think
because there's so many crimes going on there against Asians.
I was just on the phone with my parents. I think it's the worst in San Francisco right now, and I can't really explain what's going on there.
It's scary. It's frightening for all the old folks there and women and children, especially them.
I think we've come together here in New York City. I think things have gotten better. I think it's inspired the people in the Bay Area to do the same thing. I appreciate some of our own people from New York. China Mac has gone out there a few times. Mm-hmm. They need to do the same thing that we did here in New York City, in Manhattan. Is nobody expected us to say anything, and I think the crimes continue in the Bay Area. It's terrible because they don't think anybody's gonna. What's the consequence? Exactly. Everybody in San Jose and Milpitas and Walnut Creek and Oakland. Yeah, there was a few people that said a few things, and actually, they flew in from the East Coast, but I'm hoping they form the same bond over there in the West Coast. I think the crimes are continuing because the people doing it, they don't think anybody's going to say anything,
and it's blatant, right? I mean, broad daylight, breaking into people breaking into cars.
Someone lit a woman's hair on fire the other day.
Whether the politicians, the community, law enforcement, they do need to get it together. They all need to get on the same page.
Mm-hmm. I don't think enough is being done. If you institute harsher penalties, I actually think that's why there's less crime in parts of Southeast Asia and parts of Europe. Is some of these countries, you do something, even petty theft, you could go away for a long time,
right? And
there's less done because right now, I agree with you. The charges of racial, a crime that was racially charged. It's
hate crime.
The punishment doesn't fit the crime, and that's why people,
they don't even want to call it a hate crime. And they process them, and then what do? They release them. That's insane. How can that 75 or 85, whoever, grandma, grandpa, feel some sense of peace when they're walking in the street again, knowing that psychopath is still out there? Mm-hmm. And how do you struggle to call it a hate crime when it's so damn obvious? You have to hate someone in order to do that. You have to hate someone in order to do that.
It's pure evil. There's people who are dealing with things themselves. They're demons on the inside that they do the wrong thing. But if people attacking elderly, that's just pure evil. At that point, I'm not going to talk about what they're going through. You don't do that.
Right.
You don't deal with your own demons and then go push a 89-year-old over and let them crack their skull.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Or you see someone who's like walking with a cane and attack them. It's blatantly like wrong.
And here's what's crazy: when they do catch or identify the murderer in those situations, there's this underlying theme of that person's a good kid, or that person didn't know better and didn't mean it, and it didn't derive from hate. It was just, they almost borderline flirt with the idea that this is just an accident, a mental accident, or
mental lapse,
or that there was no malice involved. But you just killed someone and there was no malice involved. when there's a clear video of you going full speed and charging this elderly person and hurting them. It really does strip my mind. There's this community that accepts that and go, okay, yeah, cool. And meanwhile, we're here going, wait, are you, hello? Like, you think we're stupid? Like, are you kidding me? In what world does that justify that murder?
And it's been frustrating to see that a lot of it, people are saying it's media driven. The Asian attacks, the attacks against elderly Asians are just elderly in general. But I have to admit, in terms of elderly being attacked, I've only seen the Asian elderly being attacked more recently. And they're saying it's media driven. This isn't media driven. I didn't see this happening 5 years ago.
It's really happening.
Am I even allowed to ask? Can I ask any question on the air right
absolutely.
now? One of the questions that I have is, and I don't know the answer to it, is what if we have grown Asian men in their 20s and 30s that are healthy and built? Someone like you, someone like me, someone like... What if we had grown Asian young men attacking 84-year-old black women? What do you think would happen then?
That's wrong. that's also wrong.
Right now, all I've seen is elderly Asian women and men being attacked. Mm-hmm. My parents are 70; they're afraid to go out still, and they're in the San Francisco Bay. And all these young men are attacking the Asian seniors. And yes, some of the Asian actors are posting, and yes, we're saying what we want to say. And I'm wondering, just throwing a name out there for no reason. LeBron James, I haven't seen him say anything. He has a lot of Chinese fans in China and here. Maybe irrelevant, but if...
Shout out to Damian Lillard.
Lillard said something, thank you, and I think Kenny the Jet on TNT said a few words, and Charles Barkley. But what if young Asian men were attacking elderly folk from the black community? I don't know the answer, but I feel there'd be in my opinion, there'd be a much more
outcry.
Forceful, whatever that means to people, a much more forceful response from the black community. And let's say the black professional players, the people that a lot of kids look up to, for example. I don't know what the right way to deal with it, but I have not seen an attack on Asian elderly, and the response is young Asian men Asians going and attacking the perpetrator. I haven't seen that once.